Okay, we live.
Oh, okay, we live, baby.
We
We
live.
live, baby. That's a dramatic. They didn't get that part though. That's okay. That's okay.
Hmm.
Let me see. I don't think I am. Am I live? I am live.
All right. So good stuff today. Episode 4. Episode 4. We are coming to you from the Legacy Lounge, Tino and Fancy. Today we are talking about money and emotions, how your emotions may affect your money, how your money may affect your emotions, how the things go hand in hand.
What's your romance with finance? You treat your money like the side chick. You know what I'm saying? How y'all really rocking? You know what I'm saying? Are you prioritizing and taking care of money or letting money take care of you? What's really going on?
Ooh,
I'm just saying.
was that off the top?
It is, yeah, because that's a
Oh
very relevant
man.
thing.
Oh man, your romance with finance. Man,
I
that's a
mean, and of course that's off the top because so long we've been aware of the adage that there is no romance without finance.
mm, okay. So
Right? Or that's just me. I'm alone on that. You ain't never heard that before.
look,
That's just
nah, I
me.
never heard of that.
All
Never
right,
heard
T.
of that.
Okay. Well, there's that.
So does your finance affect your feelings? Does your feelings affect your
Do
finance?
your
Your money,
finance
your
affect your
emotion?
romance? That's still relevant. You can run from it, but it's relevant.
Mm, okay, okay. I'm with it. I'm with it. So, all right. So, how this conversation started, we were talking about really like the psychology and the behaviors and the feelings that people have when it comes to money. You know, a lot of people, when your money is up, it's a good time. It
Mm-hmm.
is a good time. I saw this post the other day that the guy was talking about, hey, I wish I budgeted my money all the time, like how I do when I'm down to my last $50. And I
Mm.
was like, you know what?
Mm.
That's powerful right there.
Mm-hmm.
You know, people budget their last, but they don't budget when they got it all. You know, it's like, oh, it's just ever flowing. The good times are always going to be rolling
Yeah.
until somebody shut off the valve, and now here we are.
Yeah. It's funny how when things get critical, suddenly you're a magician. You can make, $1 out of 15 cents. You know what I
Mm-hmm.
mean? You get real creative with recipes and allocations of money, but you have an abundance of it. You know what I'm saying? Like you said, you feel like it's free flowing. And if
Yeah.
we adapted that ideology at all times,
Mm-hmm.
it's a very precious holy book. And people point to it to say that the reason that the tithing is there, not because um, your maker requires physical money, but in that there's a lesson to help you budget.
Yeah.
So it's a it's a critical skill that applies to every part of life.
Yeah. So that goes back to being a good steward of money. I'm gonna be honest. We're gonna have a true transparency moment here.
I'm with
Uh,
that.
Back in the day, back during my college years, I was not the best with money. I would say, I would tell people honestly, if I could have all the money back that I spent saying YOLO, whoo, man.
I seen a post that said, "What is the phrase you say right before you make a bad decision?" And yours was YOLO. So everybody might not know what YOLO mean. You think everybody know what YOLO mean?
Yeah, so YOLO is you only live once, which is
Mm-hmm.
crazy because that could be used for the opposite. Hey, you only live once, so you should probably do better with your money. But hey, you're young, you're in your 20s, you don't need much to live. And so got some money, YOLO, poof, and now it's gone. Oh yeah, oh yeah. Be a weatherman up there making it
Listen, let me
rain.
tell you. And when you listen to, depending on what genre or it's influential to you, when they telling you make it rain, you know what I'm saying, and pop bottles, the whole nine. And so, what you listen to, what you tune into, you're so impressionable when you're young.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's a good time. I mean, you're on top of the world, but then I remember looking at I remember looking at a bank statement the next day after having a night out, and
You was ready to dispute the charges? Gonna be fraudulent.
oh,
That wasn't me. I wasn't in my right mind. Who did that?
I was like, why did I do that? And the thing is, I don't even know all the people who I bought shots for. I don't even know if they remember me. It was like, now thinking back, what was even the point? But hey, YOLO. that was
the man in the club. You know what I'm saying? That's the whole thing. You're gonna get a booth. How much you gonna pay for a bottle? When you could have bought, yeah.
Look, it depends on who was selling the bottle and where you're at.
Indeed. But you know it's gonna be a 400% markup. I don't care where you at if you in the club.
Yeah, but again, it goes back to the emotions of it. You want to have a good time, you want to feel good, all of that stuff. And
yep. I seen something the other day that said, if you cheap when you drunk, you a different type of cheap. Because when you in that mode, you know what I'm saying? Very uninhibited. It's whatever.
Hey, look. I would say now I have done a 180.
180, okay.
180. A drink, no drink, you're not gonna see me. Nah. It's like I've been on the other side of it already. I've been the guy buying the bottles, and I've been the guy selling the bottles.
You done grew it up. Yeah. That was a great transition, especially if it was in that order.
It was. Yeah.
You got on the right side of things for sure.
And so now, you brought up, I can't even remember exactly how you just said it.
Like, what I had said.
Finance and romance or something like that.
I just want to know, your relationship. What's your romance like with finance? You know what I mean? Is it an infatuation where, like you said, it's a situation where when you got an abundance of it, you all with and you in it. You know what I mean? Or is it a true love where when you have it, you are responsible. You're a responsible steward of it. You utilize it appropriately. You allow that money to make you more money.
With you saying that, right? So, when it comes to relationships, they say like you attract kind of who you are.
Not what you want.
Now the thing is like, are you the type of person to attract more money to you? Or are you the type of person that's constantly money is leaving you?
Why would what would cause that? Is that a mentality? Is that habit? Is that, you think, something that was subconsciously instilled in you from a young age? Like I'm not a fan of labels or brand name. I like quality.
Yeah.
The names I love the most is my name and people I love, right? I love my son's name. I made it up. Those are the names I care about. But I do recognize that there were people who might have grew up a certain way and they were made to feel a certain way because they weren't wearing names or labels. So now at this big age, wearing somebody else's name, even if it's not a great quality, it's a big deal to you, right? Because there's something there subconsciously. So I don't have judgment for it, but I recognize it. And I think other people need to recognize that's your relationship with money, right? Because there's an emotion that's involved. You feel good about yourself now because you ain't coordinated. It don't fit your shape. It doesn't complement your skin tone, but you got that name on. So you feel like you land like that.
So true. So true. And I know for me, I'm on that same page with you as far as like when it comes to names and labels and stuff. It's especially when you really look at the wealthy, they could wear like a Prada and it'll have no label on it. It'll just
they're not a walking billboard. So that's the quality of it, right? Or that's just where they go shop. Other folks get it. They got it. You're a walking billboard. I get it for children. You know what I mean? But like I said, I have no judgment.
I don't even get it for children now because once you learn that $25 or $50 can turn your child into a millionaire, I don't see how that outfit that baby's wearing is less than $25.
Absolutely. I mean, I'm saying from a child's point of view, because there may possibly be developing their self-esteem in association with who they are amongst their peers, right? From that standpoint, especially if the parent hasn't taken the time to inculcate into them, right, their personal importance without whatever they rocking. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
Mom.
but that's the stronger thing. So like having children have more pride in themselves and having that more emotional intelligence in themselves so that they don't feel that their clothes validate them any type of way.
But if their parents' mindset is not there, this is what we're talking about generationally, right? People's relationship with money, because that's how they was raised, right?
Yeah.
You can't read good, but you got on.
So what are we gonna do when it all falls down?
Wait a minute, Lauren. No, that wasn't Lauren. That was Kanye. What am I talking about? I don't know. I don't have a plan because I don't plan on it falling down. I feel, it's imperative to attack things younger. And my goal is to have these concerted conversations to eradicate that kind of behavior. You know what I'm saying? Because, it ain't what's on you anyway. It's what's in you. I don't care what you got on. You know what I'm saying? Like, you don't wear a garbage bag. You rock it if you land like that. So
it's crazy because that same guy, now his clothes, it'd be out here be like, hey, y'all paying money.
He said we all self-conscious. I'm just the first to admit it. He was transparent. He was honest.
Hey,
you know what I'm saying?
We could all learn a thing or two from that guy.
We can indeed. We can indeed. And the thing is too, what I learned about him is that it's not necessarily that he prices his clothes at that price point, but it's the retailer, the markup. Mm-hmm. And then the other part is when you really get to the depths of things. Once upon a time, things were constructed by hand, right? Bally or Italian leather, things like that, right? So it took a little bit more craftsmanship. Now everything is put on a press, and then they take off your stencil or whatever your name is and put it in the oven. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So the Timbs and the Levi boots getting made on with the same material, but you feel good because of the letters in association with it. So there's a relationship, and other people don't care about things like that, right? You go in certain neighborhoods, they don't even care about vehicles that way. They recognize they depreciate. But when you look at that home, there's a stark contrast.
So again, it goes back to, your feelings, your finances, and your relationship with your finances. Man.
Trying to impress other people. Yeah. There's a book I read years ago called The Millionaire Next Door.
Oh, that's a great book.
A lot of people wear their wealth or riches or money. Some people drive it, right? But then you have people who are very disciplined and deliberate in their accumulation. And they have regular jobs, right? They're not making an astronomical amount of money, but they pack their lunch every day.
So let me ask for the people watching this, and y'all can put your answers in the chat in the comments.
We got company?
Yeah. So would you rather be rich and nobody knows it because you're not wearing anything flashy, you're not doing anything flashy, but let's just say you got $2, $3, $4, $5 million sitting in the bank? Or would you rather be flashy, have everybody know you, but then have no money?
Is there a third option?
Give us a third option.
So you said either you can have it all and don't nobody know it all, or you cannot ball. Wait, I missed it. What is it?
Or you can not have it but be known because like just be out here rocking it, be flashy, but behind the scenes,
That's a good question. I wonder if people would answer that honestly. I see things that say, y'all hustle to be seen, I hustle to get away. I think I would want I need the gray area.
You need the gray area.
I do.
All right. Describe it for us.
Well, I feel like I think it's a great exaltation of yourself. It's a form of self-love, right? Like even in the Bible, people talk about, or people try to say like the love of money or money is the root of all evil. But we know the most adorned and precious angel became the devil. But he was draped out and dripped up. You know what I'm saying? Nobody was fly as him, right? So to represent something in yourself, a lot of people, they may be like, I know people say, I'm gonna be clean, but my child gonna be sharp. And I was raised that way as a representation of my parents, right? I always looked a certain way. So I'm not saying you got to be, shrunken off and not looking good or trying to play it a different type of way. No, I think it needs to be a healthy balance, and such is life, right? If I got it, I got it. I don't want to be gaudy with it, right? But it's okay for people to be aware, because now that's empowering. And the type of person I am, it don't mean that much to me if I can't reach back. I'm from the east side here in the city. So, it's a different mindset to if one got it, we all got it. I'm putting mine on. One eat, we all eat. One sound, one band. That's where we at with it. So for me, it's not one or the other.
So does that lean more towards the flash, or is it more just you giving back, making sure everybody's taken care of?
Because I'm fancy.
Take care of everybody.
I'm fancy, It's both of them for me. I can't choose. It's gonna be both.
With a name like Fancy, I guess you got to have some flash.
And I'm gonna be looking how I'm looking, And I'm letting everybody else eat. We all getting on. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's my camp. We all going up. If I go up, Drake say I got a really big team. We need some really big greens. That's how I feel. I can't choose.
Yeah, that makes sense, because I know even for one of the reasons why I do this is, having money isn't everything, especially if you're not giving back. I want people to have the education, the knowledge, so that we can all sit at the table. We can all be at the top. We can all eat. We can all share the wealth. My thing, if it's going to talk about the emotions for me when it comes to finance, I don't want to have a bunch of money just by myself, just sitting around all lonely. Like, that's just one of those sad lives. Like when you see ultra rich and wealthy people still commit suicide because they don't have the relationships. Which, speaking of relationships, that goes to, again, what is your relationship with money? How do you view it? Because money is one of those things where it does not move. It does not do anything unless you tell it to do something. So it will just sit there, even if you're like, oh, all my money is going towards bills. Well, you told your money to go towards bills, which I'm not telling you not to pay your bills. I'm just saying make sure you also pay yourself first, because you probably need that money more than the bill collector. And the bill collector, they'll work out a little plan with you. But are you working out a plan with yourself?
That's nigga. How you pay yourself first?
How you pay yourself first? Same way. You could do 10%, you can do 15%, you can do 20%, you can do 5%. Just whatever you have, just with every paycheck or with every increase, are you putting a little bit away for yourself?
Like put it in the bank?
We could start there. We could start with a savings account, but if you really try to make that thing grow, there's going to be other vehicles you want to put your money in. But at least if you're like, hey, I just need an emergency fund, I'm at zero. What do I do? Okay, let's start putting some money away. So when it comes to money, because how you were saying with the bank, putting your money in the bank, that's a next level play where you were getting at. So that's something, that's specialized knowledge that you and I have. And if anybody's watching, if you want to know where you can put your money safely and let it grow more than you can get it at the bank, reach out to myself or Fancy. We can definitely help you with that. But if you're at the very beginning and you're just like, I got $1, what do I do with it? All right, 10 cents, put it away. Take 10 cents, put it away. Because going back to the basics, it's not always about the intelligence. If you have a conversation with Fancy or I, we can tell you some next level moves, some high stuff, that you won't just get just talking to your buddies every day. We are licensed professionals in finances. Now, you don't need to have that knowledge to be able to do something spectacular with your life. It's more about a behavior than what you know.
Oh, absolutely. That's a good point. Because people say knowledge is power, but it's not. It's the application. Like if you got a gun and you don't, if you think you in juice and you got to turn sideways, like you probably not going to be as effective as you should be, like a marksman. But even with the information that we have, one thing I want to say is like, I don't feel like it's so advanced or so profound. It's just unknown. These are literally tax codes that people can just take advantage of. It's Googleable, if that's a word. A 401k is a tax code. A 403b is a tax code. And it simply tells the people who peep in the money how to tax it. So from professionals like myself and yourself, what we can do, same amount of money, tell you where to put it so that it has a favorable tax advantage. That's the only thing. And people just not hip.
Yeah, it's just the rules of the game. It's just the rules of the money game, especially when it comes to taxes. I know a lot of us don't like to pay taxes. If you can have ways to lower your taxes, do it. It's one of those things that we look at the tax code as bad, but there's a lot of good in the tax.
That's where the hookup at. You want to go to your tax preparer, you know what I'm saying, with fraudulent information and use another memory. Well, some people used to use other people's kids' social security number to give.
So again, there's different levels to how you're gonna get around
the
taxes, because again, you can avoid taxes, but you can't evade taxes.
There you go.
So depending on what your lifestyle's at, where your situation is, there's different strategies. We all know, hey, let me claim your kids on my taxes, but there are other strategies. There are other ways,
legal strategies
that are completely legal and actually save you even more money.
Yeah, less risk, more reward. We no longer do we have to live under the guise of chances make champions when we dealing with Uncle Sam and the IRS.
So let me ask you this: why is it that when it comes to like stuff like claiming other people's kids and stuff, those little secrets and loopholes, we are more comfortable with that, but not the major ones that like people like Trump, when he got on air, he was like, yeah, I use these tax codes to not pay taxes.
He said it made me smarter than you. What are you talking about? This is the law.
So why don't we seek out that knowledge? Like we understand, so and so with the kids, but why are we seeking
that's very, very viable, as is with anything else. PTSD, generational curses, patterns. These are things that are taught to you either intentionally or subconsciously from a very young. It's your environment, right? So if you're around that and everybody else is doing it, you're going to get in where you fit in. Like you're going to do the exact same thing. Whereas different classes of people, because they are not in a position where they have to kind of utilize those taxes because they know better, they do better. So I don't fault us for that, but it just takes a shift in our thinking, in our focus to recognize we ain't got to do that no more. That's, that's played out. We live in an information technology time. All of this stuff is readily available for us. You got people on the stage like Mr. Gordon, the commissioner of Fancy Daily to put you on the game. You know what I'm saying? Like, you don't have to be like that. It's not worth it. It's not viable. You know what I'm saying? So I just think it's an environmental thing. And I'm excited for people to start to wake up and become privy to options that are available.
Yeah. I like that because, you can get in trouble. They keep finding that you claiming other people's kids on your taxes.
Bringing that up?
Yeah, but the other loopholes, there's no repercussions. There's like, hey, these were the rules.
That's right.
Use the rules. If you got people getting on TV claiming that they used it boldly, if you can get on TV and say, hey, I used your rules and I paid no taxes, what you gonna do about it?
It's gonna make me smarter than you, and I have to agree wholeheartedly. See, in the game of life, if you don't know the rules of engagement, the terms and conditions, you are going to lose. You wouldn't get into any other game and try to play it without knowing, right? And so the same holds true with this. The corporation named the United States of America always provides a loophole in one way or another. That's why you have bankruptcy, whether it's 7, 11, 13, you know what I mean? Whatever the case may be, there's always a zip code. There's always a get out of jail card, right? But if you're not aware of it, you can't utilize it. Now's the time to learn it and utilize it. That's all.
So where do people go to get that knowledge?
Me.
Okay. Because I know for our journey looks a little bit different than somebody else's journey, because we had to get the fingerprints and pass all the exams and study this material and keep up with the changes in the economy and all of that. But if it's like, I don't want to do any of that, I don't want to be the professional. I just tell me what to do. What do I need to do?
Yeah, well, that's the way of the world. Like, that's why you go to a doctor, because they're the professional. You go to a lawyer because they're the professional. You come see somebody who's well versed in these things because they're the professional. And you have to recognize people's area of expertise, right? So just because you go to your tax preparer, they are not aware of all of the different laws. 9 times out of 10, or oftentimes, they just input information, right? They follow the formula and the strategy. A CPA. But when you have somebody who's well versed, like, you got a general practitioner, but then you have a podiatrist, right? Then you have a urologist, and that's their specialized field. So our specialized field is tax advantages, the accumulation and the growth of money in a very aggressive and legal way.
Yeah, so that brings my mind to the difference between a tax preparer and a tax strategist.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
Yeah. Oh,
yeah. The preparer is the inputter. Inputter, is that a word? Inputter? I'm gonna make it a word. Inputter.
Hey, all words are made up anyway, so
it's true. It's true. Derivatives of various languages. So yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So let's say, again, going back to the emotions and money,
I'm very emotional about money. It's a lot of times in my life where I felt that I was depressed, but in fact I was broke. I'll let that be known.
Woo!
I think there's a lot of people that can relate to it.
So where I was about to go was I was about to talk about like the trauma of money, and you kind of already beat me there. So talk about it.
That's it. Like, listen, I ain't gonna say what I want to say, but that is just simply that in the world we live in, like you said, money is not the most important thing in the world. It's up there with oxygen, though. It is very, very important. And so when you're not able to, hugging a tree is great. Grounding is great. Walking in the grass or the sand with no shoes on, getting natural vitamin D from the sun. All of those are luxuries. Those are luxury. You talk to them boys behind the wall. Those are luxuries. But then there's a different set of luxuries, right? That are more tangible. And when you are in an environment where you can't readily access it, reach out and touch it, and participate in those luxuries, it's a very dire situation. And then you start to recognize that things that are necessities are actually a luxury, right? The brand of toilet tissue, the laundry detergent you use, simple things, but it's still a luxury. And so
true,
having money to be able to utilize and take advantage of those things of a better quality, higher quality, whatever the case may be, it eradicates depression for a girl like me. I'll say that.
Yeah, because you said that you wasn't depressed, you was just broke. So how'd you get up out of that?
Huh?
How'd you get up out of that?
I spent the check and got it right back. I got a bag. Which, like,
give the viewers like some tips, some tricks, because some people watching this may not be depressed. They may just be broke. What's the cure? What's the cure?
Outside of are you saying ways to get money?
Just ways, yeah. Like your journey of getting out of that, realize one, the fact that you just realized that, and then two, what steps did you take to be like, okay, I'm not trying to be broke no more. I'm not trying to be depressed. I'm not even trying to get the two mixed up and confused.
What was imperative for me is I appreciate doing something once the right way and getting paid over and over. So I know a lot of people, we've been taught to go to school, get an education. Some people got more degrees than a thermometer, but it didn't eradicate poverty for them or didn't put them over a certain line. So I believe in things like residual income. I believe in being paid for performance. I believe in writing my own check. And in accordance with that, even if you do punch somebody else's clock, right? That's not the worst thing in the world. There's a lot of benefits that come with it. But like you were talking about, pay yourself. I think that's a viable way to do it. Whether you braiding hair, frying fish, washing the car, raking leaves, you know what I'm saying? Something for yourself that you can allocate towards building wealth or those luxuries, right? I was talking to somebody recently. She had a second job. She an RN. And she was saying, I lost a second job. I didn't realize how important that was for me. That was my hair money. That was my makeup money. That was my massage money. That was my facial money. That was my pedicure money. You know what I mean? So now she still got the bill money,
Mm.
But she slid into a depression because who want to be here to just pay bills?
Mm. Mm. So that second job was a self-care money.
It was.
Wow. Wow.
Yep.
See, man, learning a lot here. So again, going back to the behaviors, I truly believe, especially where how things are going in America with inflation and everything going up, everybody's going to need to have like a side hustle, a second job, something that's really going to pay them, so because again, not realizing like, hey, that money was taking care of me just to make sure I'm not stressed out just with the day-to-day living activities.
Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely.
Yeah, that's, man, I got light bulbs going off in my head right now. Like,
I think this is a really good time for people to recognize a lot of the ideologies of old, systems and practices of old no longer serve us. I was having a conversation with somebody, and they were just feeling like a failure as a parent because they have a child in their late 20s who's a couch surfer. And this person has tried to do everything to incentivize their child, encourage their child, push their child, and they're not able to do it. And the child, 27, but suffers from severe anxiety. And so what I was saying is, listen, ain't nobody required to get a job. You required to get money, and you ain't got to have a job to get money. So you're trying to encourage your son to go, be in uncomfortable settings and situations, whereas toddlers on YouTube who play with toys and make millions per year, right? Those old systems and practices don't necessarily serve us anymore, right? So whether, they call it, what is it called? Gigs,
yeah,
like DoorDash and things like that.
yeah,
They require very low human interaction, but you get into a check. There are people who are paid phenomenally to sit online and play video games. There's
yeah.
cybersecurity. Do you know what I mean? So we have to come out of those ideologies of, oh, you got to go get a job, or you got to go get an education. Some systems have never served certain people properly, right? In certain instances, they're never going to tell you enough or anything that's going to put you ahead of them. And even when it happens, sometimes they still going to show you. Jay-Z had a song. He was talking about OJ. And what did he say in that song? It's still a, remember that part?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So instead of you come out of their game, their matrix, their world, you know what I mean? You're going to be susceptible to things like that. So even with life insurance, that's why I always say, this ain't your grandparents' life insurance. This is not just a death benefit. This is a tax advantage. This is a tax strategy that now that you've accumulated money, this is the retention and the growth of it.
Mm-hmm. Hey, ain't nothing I could say after that. That was.
I'm just saying, as the kids say, IJS. I'm just saying, but I think that it takes for people to just readily identify that people like to be led, and so just the trap of put your money in a 401k doesn't really serve you the way it's going to serve the other entity that's a part of that, right? Because now they're about to take, I think, almost 55%, depending on what sector you're coming from, right? But you don't have any more earning power.
There's hefty taxes and fees associated with that.
Now that you built this nest egg that you told me I needed, I ain't eating. I got a nest egg, but you just took half of it or more, right? So instead of just blindly following into these things, there's no reason for that to occur with the information we have access to now. Once upon a time, right, we just had to follow in the footsteps that were in front of us, but no longer. We can create our own path.
Yeah, because then you don't want to get to a certain age and be late in your life and really be depressed because you're broke. And then you also don't have the energy or the options to get back into the workforce. So, man, the time is now. The time is now.
Yeah.
Do something, whether it is like picking up a gig, or I believe everybody has a special skill set, a
That's
talent,
right.
or a
Yeah,
hobby that can, you know, make them money.
absolutely. They can capitalize on, right? Because we're
Mhm.
all different, we're all unique. So, you know, it's almost like a puzzle piece, right? So if you're not
Mhm.
good at cooking or you don't have the time to cook well or prepare nutritious things, and it's so crazy, just the smallest thing. Like who would ever have thought you would pay for bottled water? I'm an 80s baby, but my father was born in the 40s. Nobody would have pay for water that come out that's right at the billion-dollar industry, right? Just with repackaging and branding and things like that.
Yeah, wait till they get to package air.
They have it. They have it. They sell it in China. It usually comes in some sort of like aerosol
Yeah,
bottle.
yeah, 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 yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, yeah. I did remember seeing that. Now that I
they
think,
got it. they got it. You know what I mean? So just
we
something
we
as simple as that.
we the only creatures on this planet that pay to live here.
Is that something that's so ghetto?
Hmm.
Earth is so ghetto for that.
But who we paying? Like, who own it?
It's funny because when you compare and contrast, and there's a new thing that says the American dream is to not leave America, but that's something totally different. But there's a great sector of people who felt like America is the greatest place on earth.
Hmm.
That mentality is being eradicated, right? People are trying to get to the places where they consider people to be uncivilized, right? Because they weren't learned or they didn't, know how to read or write or things like that. But these people are living longer. They ain't got that cancer. They stress free. You know what I mean? So it's just a lot of things that I think people need to. It's a herd mentality, right? Not a lot of free thinkers
Hmm.
um, or actual thinkers either.
Hey, sometimes, like how you said, you like, again, it's so powerful how you were saying that you realized that you weren't depressed, you were just broke. But then again, it's like, how do you break yourself out of that so then you have the clarity to think?
Mm,
Because you probably just don't have the mental capacity because so much is coming
true.
at you. Like, how do you break free from that?
That's so true. But that'd take me down a whole different rabbit hole because I believe your food is your medicine. I believe in Dr. Sunshine. I believe in oxygen. I believe in H2O and fruits and vegetables, right? But when you're eating processed food all the time or you're using your body as a graveyard, that affects your brain. So there's another fog that comes over it. There's a physical weight, whether it's everything is connected mental, emotional, physical, and spiritual, right? So when you have those tangible things additionally wearing you down, it's a hard way to come up. Very hard.
True, true. So another thing that it reminds me of something that we was talking about earlier, which was the price and the cost of money,
Mm,
especially when it comes to emotions, and you were talking about your physical health. What are it's like it comes down to, what are you willing to pay
mm,
for your finances? Is it costing you your health and your emotions
mm,
just to pay your bills?
mm,
Because again,
mhm,
so many times we see
mm,
people like, oh, I go to a job that I just hate
mhm,
every day. And it's just
mhm,
like, okay, what is this paycheck costing you?
mhm. Your marriage, your relationship with your children. They say
Hmm.
most heart attacks occur on Monday morning or like when people are on their way to work or something like that. Yeah,
Hmm.
absolutely.
I know part of the reason why I'm so passionate about the IULs for kids.
Mhm.
One, because it doesn't take a lot of money to turn your child into a millionaire.
Correct.
$50 a month, $100 a month, 12.50 a week could turn your child
Mhm.
into a millionaire.
Mhm.
So it alleviates some of that stress that you had.
Mm.
Because think about it, if you was a child and you just knew that your parents already set you up to be a millionaire, what, like, the stress that just takes off of your brain as you're going through life trying to figure out, oh, do I make this decision or that decision or this decision or that decision, and knowing that, again, like, I don't want people to stress about money.
Those
Don't.
are the young adults that go study abroad or come out of school and go travel and see the world, right? Because they're not under the gun. They're not under that type of pressure.
So just for my own curiosity, right, and you talking about the people who traveled abroad and whatnot, did they ever have their parents ever said to them, "Do you have McDonald's money?"
Mm.
I just want to know, like, that's just.
Do they encourage them or send them to the military? I wonder. Do they make them leave the house once they become a certain age? My guess would be no. I have not been in that situation or in
So
close
fancy. We have a question in the chat, and let me know if you want to answer or if you want me to answer it.
Depending on who it's from.
The question is, what is an IUL? You want to break that down?
You can.
Okay, yeah. So an IUL is called an Index Universal Life, and pretty much for when we were talking about an IUL for kids, think of it this way as a bank account that has life insurance attached to it. And in this bank account, you're going to get more interest than what you would get if you was to open up a regular savings account for your child. For example, the bank may give you 0.01%. Inside your IUL, you may get 5, 6, 7, 8, 10, 12%. As the markets go up, you have the ability to gain more interest. And as the markets go down, you don't lose any money. So a lot of times, and there's a YouTube video that if you type in IUL for kids, it comes up and gives you a nice breakdown. And in this example, they were showing that if a parent put $100 a month towards their child's IUL, over time, the child will have $1 million sitting in this account. And that's money that you could use for a house, a car, pay for a wedding, start a business, things like that. So
you're saying, well, there are people out here who actually invest in the stock market, either deliberately or maybe through their 401k, and they go through the ups and the downs and the ups and the downs and the volatility of the market. There is a place where you can place your money, and when the market goes up, your money goes up. But when the market goes down, the money in your account waits for the market to go up again and then matches that, and there's no downside.
Exactly.
Huh.
Exactly. So I know I was talking about this with another financial professional a few days ago, and they were saying that the amount of money that they put in over their child's lifetime was $36,000, and that was broken up over like 60 years. So let's just do the math real quick on that. 36,000 divided by 60. So really $600 a year, which is maybe $50 a month. Yeah, $50 a month. And what they had in it was over $1 million. They had like this thing set up for their whole family. Every time a child was born, boom.
Every time they were born.
Yeah.
So they were able to take care of compound interest over time with a smaller amount.
Yeah. And so what happened is, again, 36,000 over this child's lifetime turned into $1 million. You put in 36, you got out $1 million. And again, that's over their lifetime. Now, if you want to compound it, make that thing go even faster, obviously put more into it up front. But you know, again, that goes back to the concept.
But then speak to that. So that's liquidity. That's money that the child has access to. They're not required to pay back, because the benefit of this particular tax code that we're talking about with an IUL falls under tax code 7702, which gives favorable tax advantage to that money in that account if a life insurance policy is attached to it. So now, if your child needs $200,000 to put down on their first home, they can take that out of their account, and they don't essentially have to pay it back because it's collateralized against the death benefit. And so if they don't pay it back, instead of $1 million, it's down $200,000. Is that correct?
Yeah.
And also, let's talk about, I know a lot of the IULs I like to structure for children there's a lump sum payout, maybe 18, 25, whatever the case may be. And then we cut it off, but then we cut it back on to pay them in retirement, be it 100,000 a year, 80,000, whatever the case may be. Mm-hmm. So you never deplete the principal, and you're able to extract the interest because it's growing at a compound rate.
Yes. And again, the one of the most powerful things you said is the tax-free benefits.
Yeah.
Again, like that's 100% of your own money.
America, or people, the working class especially, has figured out how to accumulate money, how to get money, how to make money. The issue is part 2 and part 3, the retention and the growth, right? So we're in a very infantile and elementary stage of things, right? Where money does grow. Not on trees, but if you place it in the correct place, right? It's going to grow. Now you put your money in a position, and there has to be a transit where you stop working for money and you allow money to work for you.
Yeah. Again, you're hitting on so many things. It's really the concept of we need to. So I'm sure you've heard this growing up, right? Money doesn't grow on
trees.
Exactly. But money grows. Money grows just like a tree.
Yeah, that's why they call it banks branches. So there's that.
Yeah, you can't just say that like you just
I'm just saying. We can really get deep into when you break down, because speaking is spelling. So if we get to look at the etymology of words, remember we were talking about Latin and where things are derived from? That's something totally different. We're not gonna do that now.
Yeah.
Got to run in a minute anyway, so we ain't gonna do all that today.
You need to just carry a mic with you and just be dropping it everywhere you go.
I could do that.
Yeah,
I could do that.
Yeah, look, man, we getting too far ahead. We gotta back up, rewind, break down what you were saying about the trees and the branches.
That's all I'm gonna say about that. Okay. And I'll tell you, I have a wealth of information. Some may be deemed useless, but at any rate, I feel like people know the truth by the way it feels, right? So I'm the type to point you in a direction, and what resonates from you when you go on that journey to seek out the truth, that's for you. Mm-hmm. So I don't try to tell people what to think. Maybe that's not viable, but that's how I was with my son when I was raising him. Anytime he asked me a question, I would ask him a question back, and it was derived to make him think, as opposed to me trying to tell him what to think, right? And so that's just a characteristic of mine.
That's good, to be a free, independent thinker instead of just following the behavior of the crowd. Because again, when it comes to finances, a lot of people just follow what they see other people doing and not really thinking through it for themselves.
Even though it's not serving them.
Yeah,
they don't like it. They keep
exactly.
doing it.
It's what results are you getting from this behavior?
Not the desired results.
So, I was reading about people who purchase lottery tickets, and the people who purchase lottery tickets are usually very low income.
Poverty stricken, yeah.
Yeah, and it's, okay, we don't have $500 to save for an emergency, and a $500 emergency will completely
obliterate everything.
A lot of people out.
Absolutely.
But when they asked and when they added it up over the year, how much did you spend on lottery tickets? It was $400 to $500. So it's not that you didn't have it for an emergency, but it's, okay, well, this is going to be my hope, wish, and dream to win the lottery so then I could have the finer things in life. And I'm going to try to win the American dream, not really work the American dream.
We live in a micro-minute society, from the microwave to the car. Whatever you want, you can have it in 60 seconds or less. You know what I mean? And so now we expect for people to have this great discipline in terms of where they're putting their money. No, they're looking for the now. They're looking for the instantaneous payout. right? As opposed to going with the sure thing. Because there's only two pains: the pain of discipline or the pain of regret.
Yeah. And it's not really up until this point in my life where I'm like, I'd rather choose the pain of discipline. But going back to like even the example of the lottery ticket people, it's like what results if you spend $500 a year on lottery tickets and you haven't hit the jackpot? Because again, you got a 1 in a million chance. Why not just put that money into some place where it's guaranteed to grow? And eventually, I'm not saying you're going to have your millions overnight, but there's a better chance of you having.
Because people don't get dopamine from doing that. You know what I mean? Even
So
when
that goes back to the emotion.
They showed people a brain scan of people who were on the slot machine, right? And they didn't even have to win for these receptors to go off, but it was giving them the same feeling. So I'm going somewhere else with it, but that's why.
Yeah, it's the emotions, it's the feel good of it.
That's it.
Now, like I tell people, a lot of the stuff, a lot of this finance talk is not sexy at all.
To me, it is.
Yeah, because of what you can do with it.
Yeah.
The end result, yeah. But the process,
gotcha.
The process is just like okay, abs, for example. Abs are made in the kitchen.
That's right.
The whole process of eating fruits and vegetables and making sure you're on a good diet is not sexy at all. But if you're like, hey, look at me, I got these abs, people are like, ooh, ah.
And I'll say this, it's not sexy initially. Yeah. So the way that we're hardwired, once you get in the groove of something, just like going to the gym, you yearn to feel that burn. It's just getting there, right? So I tried to eat a corned beef over the weekend. It about wiped me out, right? I inadvertently become pescatarian and eating salads and drinking shakes and fruits and juicing, right? And every once in a while, I'm on this wagon and then I fall off and then I get back on. But it's the same concept. That's what my palate wants now. That's what my body wants, right? So it's just the discipline of getting there. And then once you're there, you got people who can't stop saving.
Yeah.
So you don't think you need to buy no new shoes? Because I can't see your toes, but you don't think you need to buy no new shoes? No, they're addicted to putting their money away.
Yeah. You built that habit and you built that discipline.
Yeah.
And so, man, who was it? Mike Tyson said that discipline is doing something you hate as if you love it.
Yeah. I ain't that grown yet, but that makes a lot of sense. That definitely resonates.
And then you'll have people like Kobe. You got to fall in love with the process. You may not like the process, but you crave the end result. That's what it's about. Like again, like putting my money away into this thing, because again, also is how you look at it. You may look at putting your money into an IUL as a bill, but it's not a bill. And even if it was a bill, it's a bill that you are paying to yourself.
That's the part. It's an account. It's a money market account. It's the strongest place where you can place your money. But people don't see that. They see it as, life insurance. But it's the absolute strongest place to, and like I said last week, I don't know if you recall, it's like a Swiss Army knife. You pay the mortgage is paid. That's all it's going to do. You pay your car note, that's it. You pay that premium, and you put your money in that account. It covers you if you're sick, if you're hurt, if you pass away, if you need to reach out and touch it. It has liquidity, right? So that one premium covers a multitude of things.
Yeah, one of my clients, he cracked me up a little bit with this one because I didn't even think of it this way. But he said, I'm glad that you showed me this, because this will pay my family if I die, and it pays me if I live too long. And I was like, oh, yeah.
Simplistically profound. Absolutely. But, he gets the concept. And, previously things were not structured that way, right? It was just payout when it was just a death benefit.
Yeah. But he is going to get paid off of it while alive. So that's great, because I know a lot of fear is, again, outliving your money. It just terrifies people because, again, you don't want to be in your later stages and later years of life, and you don't have the energy to really get back into the workforce. Now, if you do and you just, hey, you want something to do, especially I know like a lot of our seniors have so much wisdom. So if you can be a teacher of some kind, a guide, a mentor, and get paid for that, or if you want to do it for free, you know me, I'm always looking, hey, if you got the knowledge, I will gladly sit and listen to you.
Yeah.
Even if it's not about finances, if it's just any type of life wisdom, hey, you've already been down the road. Help me out because you can see further ahead than I can.
Yeah.
You know, the older people have the wisdom and the younger people have the energy and the strength. So I'm like, let's come together, show me what I can do better or differently to get further down the road.
Another great session. I've enjoyed this interaction. Hopefully, whoever checked in was able to extract some gems or be able to approach us with any additional comments. I can't see them. I don't know who's watching or who's on or anything like that, but appreciate the people who did check in. And we're always readily accessible.
Yeah. And so one thing I will say is like how we were talking about the emotions and the finances and the depression.
Mm-hmm.
If you are down, whether you're down on your luck, down on your finances, or down on your feelings, if you're not as down as you think you are, it's not as bad as it may seem to you right now. And even if you're high on your money, high on your finances, high on your feelings and the emotions, you know, always be mindful that a rainy day could come. You know? It's a balance between sunshine and rain. So hopefully that gives you some peace of mind and some encouragement. You know, because things can change. You know, it can get better, but also be prepared for it to get worse sometimes.
It goes both ways. That's right.
Anything else you want to say, Fancy, before we close this thing out?
Not in particular. Thank you for extending that invitation for me to do so. Sometimes I have to be a little tight-lipped, you know, crazy. So we'll end it here. Everything was clean and supreme, so that's a good thing.
I was about to say, if you don't end it without a little rhyme.
You're so funny. You are so funny. No, that's it. That's all I got.
All right. So with that, I'm going to drop the mic for Fancy. Boom. You know, and we are out. Everybody, y'all have a great day.
Have a great one, guys.